What's up, YouTube? It's the NFL Week 16 Picks Against the Spread video for the 2019 NFL season. Congratulations to Monte Carlo for going 12-3-1. Good for 80% against the spread for Week 15. A very impressive record, Fat Guy. And let's take a look at the top 10. We got Monte Carlo at 12-3-1. And then there's a four-way tie at second place there. I'm better at betting on table tennis. LGPC 2019. Fat Guy's Fantasy.
Yes.
And GZ007. Nasty Nuster Strength Coach. Patriot Dude in Cincy Room. And Hamburger. And the one and only. Cue the music. Dylan. The Dylan Toddfield. Going 10-5-1 this week. Slowly creeping up.
He's gaining on us. He's gaining on us. Of course he's coming from behind, but...
As always, he's 9th place this season at 113, 109, and 2. Fat Guy. We're at 120, 102, and 2. Do you think he could catch us this year?
I almost, just for the story's sake, I almost want it to happen. Like how, you know what I mean? Especially because his picks are excellent and ours are terrible. So I want to see that realized, that sentiment realized. So, and there's everyone else. We got pick last in first place, Steelers, followed by us, Mickey Hill, Gay for Fat Guy, Detroit Time, Setuple, Bo, Dylan Toddfield, cue the music again, and Captain Save-A-Ho.
So on to us for the season. We're 120, 102, and 2 this year. 317, 278, and 17. Good for 53.9% career-wise, starting from mid-2017 when we first started these pick videos.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. That's in the black. And don't forget, we've had to pick every single game, and we've had to do it at not the best lines necessarily throughout the week, all the early lines. So if you take all that into consideration, and we're still in the black, I'm quite happy. So not that I'm trying to flex on it. I am YouTube's most rising star, but I'm going to have to. That percentage is just too good.
And let's take a look at this week's
so
honorable mentions for the JS715 name of the week. I'm going to let you just take these. Just roll with it.
I'm better at betting on table tennis. Not bad. Dylan's freshly shaved left ass cheek. I think that's a little bit of a pour over from the wager of the century from 2 weeks ago. Feel the Greek. I am Greek, so I had my vanity appealed to, so I had to roll with that one. The Eyebrows Master, again, a callback. Bo loves FG's tidbit. I'm assuming that's of the sexual nature, so that's why it makes a list. Fat Guy loves the Seahawks, which clearly I don't. Take the sponsorship and buy a mic for the love of God. And just to give a little interlude, we did buy a mic. Nice work, Big Rye. Here, am I getting that into focus? We each... There are 2 new mics. We're going to have a new studio. Hopefully it's up and running by the next video. I imagine that it will be. They're a little bit heavy. Is your arm going to be able to hold that one up, or...
I got some help.
Taking his talents to male buttholes. That's a portmanteau of the decision with LeBron and with a little bit of a homosexual vibe. I guess we'll go with it. Dylan Toddfield's future shaved pubic hair. Cue the music. And Patriot Dude in a Cincy Room. But I keep saying it in my head, kind of like Chris Farley. Patriot Dude in a Cincy Room. You know, Fat Guy in a little coat.
Let's move on to the JS715 name of the week.
And yeah, I had to use that callback. I put in the honorable mentions too because I'm just obviously a complete moron. But we're gonna move on from this. And like I said, we did buy new mics. That's why this comment, it spurned the higher production value at the Big Ryan the Fat Guy Studios. So name of the week it is.
I'm sure everybody loves my mic right now. Remember, compete week 16 at BigRyanTheFatGuy.com. Link is in the description box below if you don't want to go to the website. And Fat Guy, let's move on to the picks for Week 16. We have 3 Saturday games, starting with the Houston Texans, traveling to Tampa Bay, 1 p.m. Eastern Time start. Tampa Bay, 3-point underdogs at home. Only 16% of early bettors are on the Bucs. Fat Guy, who you got?
We'll be taking the Bucs in the 3 points. It's a bit easier to make this contest pick because the juice online is minus 120. So that's double the standard commission. So your win rate's going to have to be a little bit higher on a pick such as that. So it's a little bit deceiving. It's closer to 2.5. But in my opinion, I don't even mind taking the Bucs money line. Most of the people are betting on the Houston Texans. The Buccaneers, they've become a little bit of a polarizing team. And the reason why I say I don't mind the money line is because Jameis Winston, I really think, at this stage in his career, he's the new Ryan Fitzpatrick. He can beat anybody. He can lose to anybody. And with how risky his throws are and how many interceptions he tends to throw, there's high variance, right? And if he has a good day where he doesn't throw very many interceptions, he could easily throw for 400 yards and multiple touchdowns. And that's usually a recipe for a winning victory, Big Rye. So that being said, rather than take the points, I'd rather just take the Bucs to win because they really do get after it. For better or for worse, they're trying to win, right? They're not trying to do it nice. They're not trying to do it systematically. They're swinging for the fences. So it's a team that I'd much rather take the money line. I don't have the data to back that up, so this is more of a hunch thing. We'll be combing through that through the offseason so I can have a little bit more of a scientific approach with this style of a recommendation. But as far as the contest goes, I'll be taking the 3 points. And gambling-wise, I'm going to be taking the Bucs money line. I don't know. I might buy it now, might buy it later, but I'm going to be taking the Bucs money line at some point.
Next up for the Saturday midday game, the Buffalo Bills travel to New England to take on the Patriots. Patriots are 6.5-point favorites at home. 37% of early bettors are on the Pats. Fat Guy, who you got?
I wanted to be a contrarian in the truest sense of the form, from inside and out, as I am YouTube's fastest rising star. So with this confidence, we're Canadian, and all right, now I shouldn't have said that because now I've totally just discredited us being Canadian. This is called a toque. You guys don't know this word. It's a fun word to say, toque. So when you see this hat, it is a toque. Don't call it a beanie, it's a toque. We actually have to wear them. You guys have to pretend to wear them in California or wherever you're from. That being said, since I'm going the full contrarian route, I'm going to be taking the New England Patriots. I get that I'm wearing the Bills toque, so Pats it is. Pats are on a 2-game losing streak? And I remember the last time this happened. I think it was just week 3, and they came back and they played the Cincinnati Bengals. It might have been week 4, and they absolutely destroyed them. They thought it was a changing of the guard for the New England Patriots, and I'm still on board with them this season. I still think they're a very strong team. I like them in this spot. Most of the money though is on Buffalo. It's 63% are betting on it, but 71% of the money currently at this moment in time. So that does give me a little bit of skepticism on this game. But I do like that it's a do-up, do-down situation. And how often is the public not betting on the Patriots? The Patriots have a very inelastic relationship with public betting. I don't think they're too reactive, but considering the rising nature of the Buffalo Bills in regards to success, much like my YouTube presence, and the New England Patriots losing 2 games in a row, you're really getting I think the best of both worlds. And I think this is a time where I'm going to lay the money in this divisional revenge game on the New England Patriots.
Let's move on to Saturday Night Football, where the LA Rams travel to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. 49ers 6.5-point favorites at home. 75% of early bettors are on San Fran. Fat Guy, who you got?
Oh, it's easy peasy. We'll take the Rams. We'll be betting on the Rams. Give me the Rams. Give me the points. Now, the LA Rams, we're going to use the word polarizing a lot here. Much like rising stars, also known as me. So the LA Rams, they got blown out by the Dallas Cowboys, but just the week before they blew out the Seahawks. Correct, Big Rye?
Correct.
So there's an overreaction to both of those results when realistically they're outliers as far as the median of what would happen. And public reactive to this. San Francisco happened to lose a funny game to Atlanta. Maybe the best game of the weekend, Big Rye. Is that a possibility?
It was a 5-star game, entertainment-wise.
5-star game. It certainly wasn't the Monday Nighter we had just witnessed. However, that being said, more clout is on the 49ers, less clout's on the LA Rams. I'll be taking the Rams in the contest. I'll be waiting to try and get a movement to 7. Dare I say at 7.5? But more likely 7, and 7 in good juice. That's what my guess is going to be of where this shift is going to occur. And if it ends up somehow shifting the other way from a mega sharp money on the Rams, I'm willing to gamble of it going from 6.5 to 6, rather than with the opportunity that it could go from 6.5 to 7, or even 7 with good juice, and dare I say at 7.5, as that shift is more mathematically advantageous. So that being said, I'm going to take the LA Rams. I'm going to take the points.
Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Dolphins 1-point favorites. 66% of early bettors are on the Dolphins. Fat Guy, before I ask you who you got, this is a 5-star entertainment game. I don't care what anybody said in the live stream. This is the game to watch this weekend. I don't care about playoff implications. I want to see guys playing for their jobs. That includes both of these coaches. Fat Guy, who you got?
Ooh, bet of the week has been a good thing to fade this year. I keep losing them. I have a negative record. I'm in the hole. I'm in the black. And I'll be taking the Cincinnati Bengals. And in the contest, I'm going to take the 1 point. But there's been a reverse line movement. Despite having so few of the public backing, it's a 2-1 on the Dolphins. The line has moved from
+3 to +1.
+3 to +1. Thank you for catching me there, Big Rye. And what that means is that there's that 34% is betting more than half of the money. So that means there's a sharp aspect to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, you could argue that we did miss a key number in 3 because you don't get a push anymore losing by a field goal with the Bengals. But I still feel there's some meat on the bone taking Cincinnati. It's my bet of the week, and let's just take them on the money line in actuality. In the contest, we're obviously going to salvage that 1 point. But let's take the Bengals and take them to win.
Hell yeah, brother. Next up, the New York Giants travel to Washington to take on the Redskins. Redskins, 2.5-point favorites. The Redskins are up. They have 2.5 points, 43%. Fat Guy, who you got?
Acorn Master.
What do you want?
Yeah. But this is why you're not a rising star in the YouTube community. So I'm going to be taking the Washington Redskins. I'm going to be laying the 2.5 points. 42% of the public, 43% listed in this video at this current time, yet have 73% of the money. All day, give me the Redskins. Obviously, this is a dog's breakfast. We're Giants, Redskins. These aren't exactly strong teams. I think this is a good opportunity for the Redskins to maybe salvage some success in a lost season, pretty much. Also, too, we're gonna put our money. We're gonna put it firmly on the back of Dwayne Haskins. Hopefully, he stays on for every snap, even whether they're winning or losing. And I think the Redskins here, this is a pretty easy play considering those strong market factors. One thing I will say, though, is there haven't been too many bets placed, so this market will shift at some point. I think 2.5 is probably the best. This is probably the best spot to get. I mean, of course, it could come down and the prices could shift, but I mean, it's not monumental. I don't want it to go back up to 3, though. That would be a nightmare for me if I was gambling on this game. So in the contest, I'm laying 2.5, and in actuality, I will be laying 2.5. I will take the Washington Redskins, and I'm laying the points.
I'll double down what Fat Guy said. Jump on this at 2.5 while you can. Next up, the New Orleans Saints travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Titans 1.5-point underdogs at home. 17% of early bettors are on the Titans. Fat Guy, who you got?
Oh, pretty obvious here, Tennessee. And then I know a certain somebody. I'm not even going to say his name because we'll be too lazy to try and edit in. He's not exactly a rising star in the YouTube community, not yet at least, but we're trying to make that a thing. We really, really are. I'll be taking the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to take my 1.5 point. I'm probably going to bet on them to win in the contest. It will be a 1.5. Most of the money is on the Saints. Very few people are betting on Tennessee. But I still think Tennessee's the way to go. You're probably going to want to wait, too, maybe on this line. Hopefully it creeps up somewhere to 3. Because it's easier to move a line a point when it's not over a key number. And 1.5, 2.5, not that hard to shift it. So I'm thinking maybe we can get Tennessee with 3 points at home. And I know... So one thing that is pretty common, say the Saints win by 10, they'll be like, "Whoa, did it really matter whether you got that extra 1.5 moving from 1.5 to 3?" The answer is yes, because you can't be results based on this one instance. You have to think in the long run. If I had a few percentage points of win probability in my favor, a little bit of expected value over the long term, the fruits of that labor will be bore. So it's a few extra percentage points, right? So if you have a 3% expected value on a $1,000 bet, you're going to make $30 over the long run, right? And if you can increase that number to say 3.2%, that's an extra $2. And is that really how things work? Yes. It's very difficult to make money in the sports gambling realm. There's so many factors, and this is one of those things. Try and get the best price. That's why I hammer it home every week. Almost every even pick, I say pick the best price. And this is one of those cases. Hopefully you can get a line shift. Give me Tennessee. Give me the 1.5.
Sound like a lot of voodoo there, but Fat Guy's onto something. Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers travel to New York to take on the Jets. Jets at home, +3. 30% of early bettors are on the Jets. Fat Guy, who you got?
Take the Jets. I'm going to take the 3 points. The Jets, the line's at -111, and I'm kind of hoping that maybe, just maybe, the juice shifts down, but it's good. That's kind of high stakes gambling because you really don't want a line shift to 2.5. That would be horrible. But the majority of the money's on Pittsburgh, so I can't imagine that's going to happen. It would have to take some landslide cash dump by a sharp bettor, which could happen in this case. This is one of those edge of the cliffs with a big rock because you're getting points at home in a game where I think it's pretty even. I mean, maybe Le'Veon Bell, he has a little bit of an added incentive to try and stick it to his old team. I don't think that's the case necessarily, but that's a nice storyline to look out for despite not really having any implications for me betting-wise. The market is the market, and we follow the market. So Jets is going to be the pick, and I'm going to take the 3 points.
Next up, Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns. Browns 10-point underdogs at home. Only 13% of early bettors are on the Browns. Fat Guy, who you got?
This is almost a tie for bet of the week for me. I really like the Browns at +10. This is a great value pick, I think. Cleveland losing embarrassingly. It did let my Arizona over cash, though, so thank you, Browns. I mean, you hurt my soul, but you line my pockets, so I love you, baby. So I'm going to be taking the Browns. I'm going to be taking the 10 points. Historically, double-digit dogs at home are a printing money situation over the long run. I say this all the time because in the comments, I'm going to get called an idiot because I took the Browns and they lost. Well, it's very easy to say after the fact. What I like to do is let's take the law of large numbers, put it in our favor, stack up the double-digit dogs over and over and over again, and chances are, it's in actuality, you are going to make a small expected value profit. So this is no different. Give me the Cleveland Browns, give me the 10 points, and the public doesn't like them. They love the Ravens. Perfect. This is a time to buy too, because I could see some sharps dumping huge chunks of money on this game. So
we already have.
Yeah, they already have. Exactly. They're it's 13% of people are betting on the Browns, but it's 23% of the money. So what does that tell you right there? It's outrunning it dollar for dollar against the Ravens. So take the Browns now. Take the points. Cash that money.
You know what? I just realized is it doesn't matter if the Browns are good or bad. We just tend to make money on them no matter what.
I think that's true. We got a good pulse on the Browns for years.
Next up, Carolina at Indy. Indy 7-point favorites at home. 49% of early bettors are on the Colts. Fat Guy, who you got?
62% of the money is on the Indianapolis Colts. Yet 49% of bets are. Don't forget, it's a pretty early market though. In the contest, I'm gonna take the Indianapolis Colts. You're gonna be like, Fat Guy, this is not your style of pick. It'd be a standard Carolina pick. And is there really a difference between Will Grier and Kyle Allen for the Panthers? Probably not. But I'm gonna go with this market factor. This is purely a contest pick, though. I got to be honest. I think the boat might have got missed when the line moved from Indy -6.5 to -7. I think your margin was in that half point, only a few percentage points, but it's still, to me, it's still something. 7 is now a push, not a victory, right? Kind of a big deal. So it's just purely a contest play for me. Indy looked absolutely atrocious on a heavily watched Monday night game where Drew Brees was unbelievable and he set multiple records. So that being said, I'm kind of hoping like maybe it can shift down a little bit. Maybe there's some sour bettors on Indianapolis because they had one poor showing. Actually, not. Yeah, maybe they have a couple ones. I guess that the Oakland game was a little bit ugly, but I'm a fan of that Indy team. They might not have been able to be as successful as I had hoped, but they're still strong in my book. And the sharps seem to be on this game. I think at least what the money is, the percentage of money is reflecting, which I have in front of me right here. So give me the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm going to lay 7 points for the contest, but I'm hoping I can get a little bit of movement so I could take it later on in the week.
Next up, the final 1 p.m. Eastern Time game. Jacksonville travels to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Falcons 7-point favorites at home. 52% of early bettors are on the Falcons. Fat Guy, who you got?
Well, this is now I'm going opposite of what I just said. The market factors are favoring Atlanta in regards to money being put down but I'm going to take the Jags with the 7 points. This one to me, I think Atlanta is getting the benefit of the doubt, maybe because of their success in the 49ers. In that kind of, I don't exactly remember what the term is, but where they break it down, almost like an ELO rating. Like they beat maybe what was once considered up until this weekend the best team in the league in the San Francisco 49ers as 11.5-point underdogs, 10.5, 9.5. It moved around a little bit, but that's still significant, and they're able to do so. So I think that's a little bit, it's inflated this line despite these early bets. So I think Jacksonville shouldn't be 7-point underdogs to Atlanta, and I don't even think Atlanta's home field is necessarily that strong, at least from some friends of mine that have been to some games this year. So, but maybe the tides turn a little bit in regards to the Falcons. There's a little bit more optimism because they had some strong showings. But I think that those strong showings piled up here has inflated this line. 7 points is too many in my opinion. I'm not really in love with this game as far as betting goes, but contest-wise, this is an easy Jacksonville Jags pick at +7.
Let's move on to the midday games. We'll start off with Oakland traveling to LA to take on the Chargers. Chargers are 5.5-point favorites at home. 65% of early bettors are on the Chargers. Fat Guy, who you got?
Well, reverse line movement again. More people are betting on the Chargers, less people on the Raiders. Yet the line moved from Chargers -6.5 to -5.5. Why are they doing that? Well, they're trying to incentivize you to take the Chargers because I think there is still value on Oakland at 5.5. I understand that the key number that rolled over between 6.5 and 5.5 is 6, which isn't as key as others, but it is still significant to me. It is still a reverse line movement. More money is bet per better on the Raiders than the Chargers. This will be a bigger play for me. I like the Oakland Raiders. I might even. This is one I really want to. I wish I had that data that we're going to comb through this summer, or at least in the off season at least, so maybe even sooner than that, because this might be a money line play. Like that might be the best, like the most optimal play. The most expected value might be betting the money line rather than the points. But for betting purposes and the contest, I'm going to take the 5.5 points. But I am curious to test this theory because every week I'm seeing opportunities where I'm really not sure what's optimal, money line versus taking the points. And this is one of those cases I'm not sure, so I'm just going to defer to what I do know, that this is a positive expected value spread play. Give me the Raiders, give me the 5.5 points. And I guess we're going to thank this point spread on Jacksonville, I guess, upsetting them. Yeah, like that. And it was a comeback win, was it not, Big Rye?
Yeah.
So that's going to... The box score is going to look favorable to Jacksonville. It's going to look down on Oakland. And the Chargers kind of get a pass for losing to Minnesota being a strong team. So I don't think this line's that accurate either, doubling down on why I like this game so much. I'd said bet of the week on Cincinnati, but this is another one, like I said, that's really good, much like the Browns. Not quite as good as the Browns, I don't think, but I still find this game really strong. And don't forget, Oakland was able to beat the Chargers at home. LAC is doesn't really have a home field advantage at all. You know, you could really have a mixed gate between the Oakland fans and the Chargers fans. So I don't see why this line really makes sense to me. So give me the Oakland Raiders and I'll take the points.
Next up, to continue with the midday games, the Detroit Lions travel to Denver to take on the Broncos at Mile High. Broncos are 6.5-point favorites. 73% of early bettors are on the Broncos. Fat Guy, who you got?
We'll take the Detroit Lions. We'll take the points. And hopefully we can get a line shift in the betting market so I'm able to take them with my hard-earned dollars, let's say. So Detroit Lions, the line's 6.5. We want it to get to 7. 27% of the bettors are on the Lions, yet 41% of the money. Denver, I mean, I guess it's all the negativity surrounding the Lions, why they're getting these bloated lines. The coaching in Detroit, though, is just so atrocious from a head coaching perspective that it kind of like, it's one of those things where like maybe we're not big on handicapping anymore as far as like we do like it, and we do we wish that it could beat market plays, but the amount of time you have to put in and the emotional attachment you have to your own system, I think clouds your judgment. That's why we prefer the market plays, because you can be kind of robotic with it. And as Amarillo Slim Preston always said, he said, emotion is a killer. You wear your heart on your sleeve, the sportsbook will knock it off like a dead limb. And that's why I do think those systems are kind of open you up to have an emotional attachment and reaction to the game. And that definitely, emotions cloud judgment. We need to be robotic, and this is a Detroit Lions play, despite my disdain for Matt Patricia, at least his coaching style. I don't know him as a person. So give me the Lions and give me the points.
Next up, the Arizona Cardinals travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Seahawks are 9.5-point favorites. 49% of early bettors are on the Hawks. Fat Guy, who you got?
Hawks are always rolling. So, I mean, Arizona, I don't think is going to get the benefit of the doubt for beating Cleveland pretty handily at home. So, I mean, Seattle is a hot team, very hot team. The public likes them. I can see why. They're winners. So let's see if we can't get a little bit of an inflated line here, at 9.5 points. So I'm going to take the Cardinals. I'm going to take the 9.5 points. And I think it's a pretty simple pick. More money per dollar is put on the Arizona Cardinals than the Seahawks. And you have to think, like, Arizona is not exactly a sexy pick. Let's be real. So that makes me even believe more that these heavy dollars are coming from pros rather than whale Joes. So give me the Cardinals and give me the points.
Next up, the final midday game, Dallas at Philly with playoff implications. Philly 2.5-point underdogs at home. Only 20% of early bettors are on the Eagles. Fat Guy, who you got?
This is, there is playoff implications on this game. I mean, a little bit of a dogfight in that division for being, I guess, the worst wins-wise. I'm going to be taking the Philadelphia Eagles in a revenge game, and I think it's pretty clear-cut here. Dallas is somehow favored. I kind of like the opening line at a pick. That makes sense to me. Yeah. So this is more or less probably going to be a money line pick. The juice is minus 105, so you don't have to be as right as you would normally, because the break-even point at minus 110 is 52.38. So cut that in half, and that would be your break-even win rate for taking Philadelphia plus 2.5 at minus 105 juice. The Philadelphia Eagles, they're not exactly popular in the public's eye. Dallas is just a polarizing figure. Week to week, drastic shifts in public favoritism. Drastic. And this week, they annihilated, I guess, the Rams in one of our more favored games of the week. So I guess that's maybe fresh in their minds. I don't think they remember some of the really short memories, eh?
Very short memories.
Very short memories.
Dallas Cowboys this year.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, they're the worst team in the world.
And it's the exact opposite for the Rams, who were coming into that game hot.
Hot, yeah, because they beat Seattle. But did they really change strength between those games?
There was a huge difference in strength between.
Yeah, sure, exactly. See, now he's being the troll, but he's right. There's nothing. Just the results. The results and
they might have had like a good week of practice.
Yeah, but then the win probability just shifts. Percentages.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it sure does. So give me the Philadelphia Eagles. Give me the points in the contest, and I'm probably going to be wagering a little bit on the money line. So let's go Eagles.
Yeah, if it stays at 2.5, get Eagles money line. If it goes up to 3, get Eagles plus 3. Fat Guy, on to Sunday Night Football, where the Kansas City Chiefs travel to Chicago to take on the Bears. Bears are 5-point underdogs at home. Only 4% of early bettors are on the Bears. Fat Guy, who you got?
There isn't that much volume on this game, so that's
misleading.
Looks misleading. It is a little bit, but we have to put the percentage up. We do it every week. This is how it rolls. So it looks really like oh man, you're a contrarian better. Then you should really bet big on the Bears. Now this line's going to settle down at some point. I feel that there's going to be mega sharp money coming in on the Bears. I mean, you're getting 5 points at home. It's pretty good. Can the Bears, are they capable of a good performance at home with that defense? And it's not exactly going to be a calm midsummer's night. It's going to be cold out there. Going to be cold at Soldier Field.
Well, this is a nice little tidbit, is the Chiefs just won big in the snow game. So that's counting in people's minds that the Chiefs are going to win no matter where they are.
Well, it's in actuality, like, it just happened to be a really good result. It's even more of an outlier considering the weather that they were in. So, that being said, Bears in the points, pretty easy one here. I'm not really sure about movement, so I can't call on a prediction, but I did say earlier I do think that there's going to be sharp money dumped on the Bears. I just don't know when, how, or why. I'm going to take the Bears now, and I take them at 5 points in the contest.
Yeah, you want to get them above 4.5 if you can. 3 and 4 being key numbers. I don't think this goes up to 6.
No, I think that's a dream boat.
Unless people are crazy about Kansas City. All right, on to Monday Night Football, where the Green Bay Packers travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Vikings 4.5-point favorites at home. 43% of early bettors are on the Vikings. Fat Guy, who you got? I almost called them Minneapolis.
Well, the thing is, I heard it coming, the Acorn coming. So I thought because you screwed up the Minnesota suffix and said mini. So I'm like, maybe he'll just throw in Minneapolis, and this whole conversation would never have happened. Of course, he's not sharp enough, not being a rising YouTube star like myself. So I'll be taking, it's a tough one, but I'll be taking the Green Bay Packers, and I'll be taking the points. This one is just purely a contest pick, and I want to watch it as a football fan. These are two really strong teams. I grew up in the Randy Moss era, so I do have I guess a little bit of a soft spot for the Vikings. They were exciting back then, and I kind of wish them well too. One of our closest friends of the show, very, very big Vikings fan. So for his sake, Vonnie Bove, I hope that the Minnesota Vikings win. But for my contest, I want to get a cover from the Green Bay Packers. This should just be an interesting one. The market is relatively even, so there's not too much interesting points to go in there. But watch this one as a football fan. It's a 5-star entertainment, Big Ryan.
This is going to be a 5-star entertainment game. I just feel like this is a trap line. 4.5 just seems like so many points for the Vikings to cover, and that's why I feel like this might be a trap game. But we'll take these 4.5 points and we'll roll with it the RFG style.
There you go.
Before we jump into the lightning round, I just want to touch on your fantasy, because I know the true fans that are still here right now, they want to know how fantasy went for you.
Well, to be honest, we employed a very similar strategy. We can't quite reveal the whole nature of it because it's been so successful that it's
proprietary.
It's borderline proprietary. We might have cracked the code, everybody. We use very similar strategies, and I'm in the finals in 2 of them, and then someone else using the exact same style that we did is in the finals in theirs. We made the playoffs with every team that's used it. How do you beat it? And the finals. It's fantastic. So I'm in the finals for two leagues, and let's hope the Fat Guy's team, Guy Kiss Party 69, is able to pull off a victory in at least one of them.
All right, on to the lightning round. We'll start off with Houston at Tampa Bay Saturday.
Tampa Bay Bucks.
Also Saturday, Buffalo, New England.
Give me the Pats.
And Saturday Night Football, LA Rams at San Fran.
It's Rams.
Sunday, early game, Cincinnati, Miami.
The Bungles.
Giants, Skins.
Skins.
Nolan, Saints versus Titans.
I was told I was never allowed to bet against the Saints by a certain somebody, but I'm going to be taking the Tennessee Titans.
Pittsburgh at the Jets.
Meet the Jets.
Baltimore at Cleveland.
Big bet on Big Billy G's Cleveland Browns.
Carolina, Indy.
Indianapolis Colts laying the points.
Oh, Jacksonville, Atlanta.
Jacksonville in the points.
Oakland, LAC.
Oakland Raiders.
Detroit at Denver.
Detroit Lions.
Arizona at Seattle.
The Arizona Cardinals.
Dallas at Philly.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Kansas City at Chicago.
The Chicago Bears.
And Monday Night Football, 5-star entertainment game, Green Bay at Minnesota.
Unbelievable 5-star entertainment game. And let's hope at least. Give me the pack and the points.
All right, BRFG viewers, that's it for us. The NFL Week 16 picks are in the books. Fat Guy, how do you feel about this week?
It's a little bit lukewarm. I do want to point out my 85 calendar Chippendales t-shirt. The 86 calendar is on the way, don't worry. But I got a little bit lukewarm. It gets tougher near the end of historically, I haven't done that well in week 16, 17, but it's only been 10 years, so what's that, 20 weeks? Pretty short sample, so hopefully we can turn it around. I want to gain a little bit. We had a losing week. I'd like to do a little bit better this week.
So fade the Fat Guy.
There you go.